Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. FBI Director James Comey Sunday said Hillary Clinton will not face charges over newly discovered emails from her private server, ending 9 days of speculation that jolted the race and threatened Clinton's run for the White House. In a letter to lawmakers, Comey said he would not alter a decision he made in July when he said Clinton had been careless with classified materials but would not face criminal charges. Clinton campaign spokesperson Jennifer Palmieri welcomed Sunday's news.
We have seen Director Comey's latest letter to the Hill. We are glad to see that that he has found, as we were confident that he would, that he has confirmed the conclusions that he really reached in July, and we're glad that this matter is resolved.
FBI Director Comey's announcements unlikely to quell Democrats who've called on him to resign. They charge Comey violated the Hatch Act, which prohibits federal employees from influencing elections. On the campaign trail, Hillary Clinton enlisted some of the biggest names in show business to get out the vote. Superstar Beyonce performed at a rally in Cleveland after her husband Jay-Z introduced Clinton.
The other guy, I don't have any ill will towards him, but his conversation is divisive, and that's not an evolved soul to me. So he cannot be my president. He cannot be our president. Once you divide us, you weaken us. We're stronger together. Once you divide us, you weaken us. We are stronger together. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to you the next president of the United States, Ms. Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton returns to campaign in Michigan today to follow up on a Friday evening campaign stop in Detroit. Both First Lady Michelle and President Obama are campaigning in swing states and will join Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi for a concert tonight in Philadelphia with the Clinton family. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is pushing ahead with campaign events in Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and New Hampshire. In Wisconsin, Trump's campaign canceled an event near Milwaukee Sunday, mere seconds after House Speaker Paul Ryan said he would take to the stage to support Trump there. Trump campaign spokesperson said the cancellation was due to a scheduling conflict. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to accuse Democrats of voter fraud. On Saturday, Trump claimed the late opening of a voting site in the Latino neighborhood of Las Vegas due to long lines pointed to a rigged system.
It's being reported that certain key Democratic polling locations in Clark County were kept open for hours and hours beyond closing time to bus and bring Democratic voters in. Folks, it's a rigged system. It's a rigged system, and we're going to beat it.
In Arizona, anti-immigrant Trump supporter Sheriff Joe Arpaio will deploy his deputies at polling stations on Election Day. Critics say the move is aimed at chilling voter turnout in an election that's expected to see a record turnout for Latinos, who heavily favor Hillary Clinton. In Reno, Nevada, a protester was tackled and beaten Saturday after he held a sign reading "Republicans Against Trump" at a Donald Trump campaign rally. Austin Kreitz says he feared for his life after Trump told supporters to, quote, take him out.
Trump, I didn't see exactly what happened. It looked like he was kind of pointing at me, almost like he was instigating something. People started going crazy. These people couldn't grab the sign. They start tackling me, and then it just piled on, and someone yelled something about a gun. But I was yelling down there, there is no gun. I only have a sign. I only have a sign. But there were some people wrenching on my neck so hard that they could have strangled me to death.
Secret Service agents rushed Donald Trump from the stage as Kreitz was beaten. Police detained Kreitz, then released him without charge. Police did not arrest any of the Trump supporters who assaulted Kreitz. In Pennsylvania, state police in riot gear held back hundreds of counter-protesters from a rally of about 30 white supremacists at the state capitol building Saturday. One of the self-described National Socialists wore a Nazi-style uniform and a hat reading "Make America Great Again." He unfurled a banner reading "President Trump, build the wall." In South Carolina, jury selection begins today in the trial of Dylan Roof. Prosecutors say Roof opened fire at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina in June of 2015, killing 9 black worshipers, including the pastor, Clemente Pinckney. Roof, who is pleading not guilty, embraced white supremacist views and was shown in photographs posing with a Confederate flag and a pistol. A white Cincinnati police officer wearing a T-shirt emblazoned with the Confederate battle flag under his uniform when he shot and killed an unarmed black motorist last year. The revelation came during testimony by a crime scene investigator at the murder trial of former University of Cincinnati officer Ray Tensing, who fatally shot 43-year-old Sam Dubose in July of 2015 after stopping him for not having a front license plate. In Missouri, a mother of an African-American man found dead in a St. Louis area home is demanding an investigation after a leaked photo showed a white officer smiling and giving a thumbs up over the body of her son. The photograph was leaked to local station KMOV, which blurred the officer's face. It shows the officer, who is white, wearing gloves and smirking as he grips one arm of Omar Rahman's body. A medical examiner ruled Rahman died of an accidental drug overdose, but his mother says she has not heard from police since the day of his death last August. In news from Iraq, U.S.-backed Iraqi forces and Iraqi government militias are continuing the campaign to retake Mosul from ISIS. Mosul is the militant group's most populous territory in Iraq. There are reports of suicide bombs, booby traps, and house fighting. As part of the campaign, Iraqi Kurdish fighters backed by U.S. airstrikes are battling for control of Bashika, just northeast of Mosul today. Meanwhile, in Syria, the U.S.-backed Kurdish-led troops known as the Syria Democratic Forces launched a campaign Sunday to take control of the city of Raqqa from ISIS. The U.S., France, and Britain have all pledged to back the campaign with airstrikes. U.S. Central Command says the U.S.-led coalition has already conducted 16 airstrikes north of Raqqa. An estimated 200,000 people currently live in Raqqa, which was seized by ISIS militants in 2014. Back in the United States, in Oklahoma, a strong 5.0 earthquake struck the city of Cushing on Sunday night, knocking out power, rupturing gas lines, partially collapsing buildings. Cushing bills itself as the pipeline crossroads of the world, is home to above-ground tanks that store millions of barrels of crude oil. Scientists believe wastewater disposal wells from oil and gas fracking are linked to the dramatic rise in earthquakes in Oklahoma in recent years. In Alabama, the Colonial Pipeline restarted its gasoline line Sunday, 6 days after a massive explosion killed one worker and severely burned 4 others. This same pipeline leaked nearly 340,000 gallons of gasoline in central Alabama in September. In North Dakota, police fired tear gas at Native American water protectors fighting the $3.8 billion Dakota Access pipeline Sunday as they tried to protect a sacred site where they say their ancestors are buried. Meanwhile, water protectors say they want a promise by an official from the Army Corps of Engineers to delay any potential construction of the pipeline under the Missouri River for at least 30 days if the Dakota Access Pipeline Company is granted a permit to bore under the river. Candy Moset of the Indigenous Environmental Network says the delay could be as long as 2.5 months. She also responded to President Obama's statement last week that the Army Corps of Engineers is considering ways to reroute the pipeline.
Many of us here do not support a reroute, but it's important for people to know that even uttering those words could effectively kill this project because they cannot possibly afford it.
The United Nations climate change talks open today in Morocco, with the U.S. election casting doubt over efforts to slow global warming. Delegates to the negotiations in Marrakesh fear that if elected, Donald Trump would make good on a campaign pledge to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Agreement on climate change reached last year. Meanwhile, many climate scientists warn countries need to commit to far deeper reductions in greenhouse gas emissions to meet the agreement's goal of limiting global temperature rise to 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll have more on global warming all next week as Democracy Now! Broadcasts from the UN Climate Summit in Marrakesh, Morocco. In New Jersey, Republican Governor Christie is denying involvement in a plot to slow traffic on the George Washington Bridge after 2 of his top aides were convicted Friday on all charges in the scandal. Jurors found Bridget Ann Kelly and Bill Baroni conspired to create a traffic jam to punish the Democratic mayor of Fort Lee for failing to endorse Christie's re-election. They each face a maximum sentence of 86 years and plan an appeal. A former ally to Christie, David Wildstein, has testified that Governor Christie knew about the plan ahead of time. This is Governor Christie speaking on CBS this morning.
If the media and others attack you relentlessly for 3 years, and you cannot defend yourself, because you are in the middle of cooperating in the judicial process and cannot stain that process, then if there's only one line of information, then people will believe the line of information they're being given.
A federal jury has found Rolling Stone magazine defamed an administrator at University of Virginia when it published an account of a fraternity gang rape that was at least partly inaccurate. The jury found that the 9,000-word article, A Rape on Campus, showed actual malice toward UVA Associate Dean Nicola Ramo, who was accused of indifference towards survivors of sexual assault. The article centered on a student named Jackie, who says she was gang raped at a fraternity. Rolling Stone retracted the story after acknowledging discrepancies and raising questions about its source. The woman named Jackie still maintains she was sexually assaulted, and Charlottesville police have kept her case open. In Hong Kong, police fired pepper spray against thousands of demonstrators who flooded the streets to protest a crackdown by China's central government on the city's independence movement. The clashes came after authorities said they would bar a pair of elected officials from taking office after the two pledged allegiances to the Hong Kong nation and displayed a banner reading, "Hong Kong is not China," during a swearing-in ceremony in October. Volkswagen faces fresh accusations that it rigged its cars to avoid pollution standards. The California Air Resources Board says some of the VW's line of Audi luxury cars contain software that lowered carbon dioxide emissions under testing conditions. Regulators found when cars were put into real-world conditions, the carbon dioxide emissions rose dramatically. Volkswagen previously admitted to rigging some 11 million vehicles worldwide, allowing them to emit up to 40 times more nitrogen oxide pollutants than standards allow. In Nicaragua, President Daniel Ortega has won a third consecutive term in office after winning more than 70% of Sunday's vote. Ortega's wife, Rosario Murillo, will serve as his vice president. And Janet Reno, the first woman to serve as U.S. Attorney General, has died due to complications from Parkinson's. She's died at the age of 78. During her 8-year tenure, Reno oversaw the arrest and prosecution of the so-called Unabomber Ted Kaczynski and Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh. She oversaw the deadly raid on the Branch Davidian cult in Texas, which left 76 people dead. Reno drew fire for her prosecution of Wen-Ho Lee, the U.S. nuclear scientist of Chinese descent who spent 9 months in solitary confinement after he was falsely accused by the Clinton administration of spying for the Chinese government. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.